Numbskull News, and today I want to talk about some predictions for realignment and also the CFP. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start with the CFP. That's the big thing that's going on right now, the most present thing that's going on anyway. So my prediction, I guess it kind of lines up with what Greg Flugar said about it. I believe it's going to be one or two options. I believe the Big Ten and the SEC, they're going to get 3 automatic qualifiers, and the Big 12 and the ACC will get 2, and the Group of 5 will get 1. And you'll have 3 at-larges for a 14-team playoff, or you'll get a 16-team playoff, and more than likely, you'll have the Big Ten and the SEC get half, 8 of those spots, and both the Big 12 and the ACC, each one will get 2. And Group of 5 will still get 1, and you'll still have 3 at-larges. One of those is going to happen. And no, that's not inconceivable for the Big 12 to get 2 automatic qualifiers. Number one, there's still 3 at-larges, so both the Big 10 and the SEC can get more teams in. They can earn more money that way. I would not agree at all to let them have not just more automatic qualifiers, but more money as well. No, they have an opportunity to earn more money. I mean, they'll already have it as an automatic qualifier that they'll automatically get more money. But they can definitely have a way to get a 4th team in if it's the 3-2-2. But either way, however it works out, it's going to be one of those two. I don't really know about the details. The details I can't really predict. Okay, because they're all over the place, and there's a shit ton of them. We'll just have to find out. I just know what I would prefer as a Big 12 fan. And of course, the next thing is to talk about future of realignment. And the future of realignment right now is all about Florida State. So we know there's going to be a court date in North Carolina in March in this month. At the end of this month, and then at the beginning of April there's going to be one in Florida. So that's really where it all begins, and I think it's all going to get wrapped up before the end of the year, more than likely before the start of the season. I think we're going to find out the fate of Florida State, and what I believe the fate will be, because I think 2 possible outcomes. If it goes all the way to trial, and I believe a judge will basically say, okay, you can get out you agreed to the exit fee of whatever it is, $120 million, you can get out for that. And that's the biggest problem with the ACC. That's and probably not why it's going to go to trial. All right. I like everybody else, I kind of predict that it's going to end up being a negotiated amount of money getting out. It's not going to be the insane $500 million. They'll probably agree on somewhere in the neighborhood of $200 million a piece. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Because you don't want to leave money on the ground there if you're the ACC. You know these guys are going to get out. Why else would you bring in Stanford and Cal? Because you know teams are going to leave. This is just the hoopla you got to go through to get to a negotiation spot, which they're already getting to if you read some of the stuff that the ACC put out in their last legal filing or evolution or change or whatever, amendment, whatever the hell that is. So we know this is going to happen, right? That they're fine with FSU buying their way out. It's just negotiating the number. And personally, I feel that there's probably teams like Clemson and Miami, at least, they're going to help flip the bill for FSU. Why would they do that? Because once FSU is cleared to go, ESPN is going to pull the plug. And they're out in 2027. And once they're out, once that deal ends in 2027, listen to me closely, people, because some folks just don't get it. Once they get out, then your grant of rights is done. All right? The extension has to be agreed upon by ESPN to go to 2036. If they decide they're not extending, which they have the right to do, in I believe January of 2025, they could file that and say, okay, we're out in 2027, then your grant of rights stops in 2027, which means whoever wants to get out can get out for $0. No exit fee, no nothing. But I do think that ESPN is paying very close attention. And if this thing really does go to hard negotiations about an exit fee, ESPN may just step up. And what I mean by step up, contact FSU and say, look, we're going to pull the plug. We know you can buy your way out and you'll get out. We want you in the SEC. We don't want to see you go to the Big Ten. And the SEC does not want to see the Big Ten get Florida State. If they get Miami, so be it. They don't want them getting into Florida with Florida's biggest brand. And I know that'll piss off Florida Gator fans. FSU is their biggest brand. They're not that far away from being the Longhorns, Texas. Oh, why would they double dip in a state they're already in? I don't know. Ask the Longhorns, because they've already done it. The SEC has set precedent. They will double dip in a state they're already in if that team has a big enough viewership and is a big enough brand. And FSU checks those boxes. All right. You could take them carriage fees, turn them sideways, and throw them right up your ass. Because carriage fees aren't what they once were. Not when you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers cutting the cord every year to their cable and satellite subscriptions. That shit is dying. Can't count on it for the future. And this is a prediction. What I'm predicting is the SEC and the ESPN want FSU. And they will also double dip in the state of South Carolina for Clemson. Because Clemson, it's kind of like adding another Oklahoma. That's a big ass brand to get. And I don't believe the SEC wants to expand that much more. I don't think they want 4 teams in the ACC, because there's not 4 teams in the ACC that belong in the SEC. And I believe the people in the SEC believe that. They don't want a whole bunch more expansion. Look at Texas and Oklahoma, guys. Look at them. This is a huge player in the political stream of the SEC now. They have huge weight. That's what they bring with them. Those two do not like expansion. They don't like to cut off pieces of their CFP and media rights money for anyone else. Even if you get the media rights covered, they don't want to share any more than they have to as far as NCAA payouts, CFP payouts. They know it's going to cost them money. They don't want dilutive programs. Period. They won't add unless they absolutely have to, or you're getting an amazing deal. And they know full damn well FSU and Clemson will add to what you can get out of the CFP, and possibly add to what you can get from an NCAA tournament. Those are your 2 biggest payouts other than the media rights deal itself. They help the situation monetarily. They don't hurt it. So double dip all you want. Get your little cone, put a couple scoops on that bitch, because that's what's going to happen with the SEC. Now, if the Big Ten get to come out there and just pay their $120 million or whatever it is, $200 million, and they become free agents, then it's going to be tough, because the Big Ten is there and they'll snatch them up in a second. And if you don't believe me about the power of Texas, I mean, they've already, who is it? Their president or AD, I can't remember which one, not too long ago came out and talked about the SEC adding another conference game. And this is something that the SEC conference has been reluctant to do. And they've been criticized for it in the media for a long time. But Texas and Oklahoma, they know the value of conference games. They know the money that can draw and that can bring. And it's funny that they're the ones talking about it. It's not Alabama. It's not Georgia. It's not LSU. It's not anybody else. It's Texas talking about that. And by the way, Texas hasn't played one damn SEC game yet. And they're already talking about it. That's the power. That's what I've been talking about with Texas and OU. Careful what you ask for. You're about to get it. Here comes the most powerful political body with those two coming into the SEC. You're going to be adding another conference game because that's what Texas and OU want. I know SEC fans don't want to hear that kind of shit. They want to act like, oh no, we're the big dogs. We're going to humble them. No, there's no humbling those two. And when it comes to expansion, like I said, they don't like it. But when they look at the numbers of FSU and Clemson and what they can add, they'll approve that. You think they want UNC in the conference? NC State? Virginia Tech? You can give up on that dream. Texas will stamp that out in a minute. In a minute. And you may say, well, where's their leverage? Hey, that media rights deal is up in 2032. You know what? And I bet anything. Petiti would be like, wow, Texas and OU would look great with a Big Ten banner behind them. That's the reality you're in now. This is the realignment era, people. The Texas and OU do not have to stay past 2032. So it's like, hey, we're going to do it like this, or you're going to get one of these. They don't have any loyalty to you. They own the Big 12. The Big 12 was their conference. And they left it. They left it for more money. They went to the SEC. That's the easiest amount of travel for them. But they can easily go to the Big 10 in 2032. No sweat. No problem. They signed a grant of rights through 2032. They ain't got to go past that. They don't have to sign an extension. They don't have to do any of that shit. They could play hardball, and they will. And the SEC would be fools to let them go. They would be fools to want to expand more than 2 more teams. FSU and Clemson are the only ones that really have the value to move the needle for the SEC or for ESPN. Who's going to pay for this shit? And when it comes down to it, it'll be the pressure of Texas and Oklahoma combined with ESPN. That's why the SEC will not expand more than 2 more teams with FSU and Clemson. If they can't get if they cannot get FSU, if FSU decides, screw you, we're going to the Big Ten, and it's going to only be the Big Ten that we're going to deal with, then they may only expand with Clemson. Because I don't think they'll take Miami. I don't see it. I know, and Miami has a huge ceiling. You know, they come out with an 11-1 team. You watch those ratings all over the country, it'll skyrocket. Huge ratings Miami is capable of. They're down right now. But damn, that is a school that has a massive ceiling. I don't give a damn if they're a small private school or not. They got the history. They got the perception. They got everything. They got the recruiting. Got to find a head coach. There's that. But no, that brand has a huge ceiling to it. But I don't think that's enough for the SEC. I do think if the Big Ten does not get Florida State, they will expand with Miami. It makes all the sense. It gets you into Florida. Someplace they would love to be in. Is Miami as big as, Atlanta, Georgia? No. But if you add all the surrounding places all around Miami, That's a big damn market. That's a huge market. And it'd be really nice to be in it. It comes with its own level of prestige, if you will. I don't see the Big Ten adding anybody else but Florida State or Miami or both if they can get them. I think that's all they'll do. I don't think they have any inclination to go past 20. At some point, you start losing returns. It doesn't make financial or business sense on their level. They're making so much damn money. At that point, you're just trying not to lose money. All right, you're damn near capped out where they're at right now. I don't see any kind of way that they're going to add more, especially dilutive schools. Hell no, they're not going to do that. And they're always going to have a spot for Notre Dame. Their perfect scenario would be FSU and Notre Dame, and then call it a day. That's it. 20 teams. Let's rock and roll. I think that's what they want. If they can't get FSU, they may go ahead and get into Miami. Outside of that, I can't see anybody. Only Notre Dame. The Big 12. Now, Big 12 is interesting. My prediction for the Big 12. Well, it starts with FSU making their choice. Clemson gets out. ESPN does what it does. Grant of rights is over in 2027. Everybody else can get out scot-free. And then all it takes, people, look at the Pac-12 history. Once Colorado decided, screw this, we're not doing Apple. We're not doing this getting paid based off of subscriber bullshit. We want some place where we know what we're getting every year. We know our base. We can count on it. And we want something that's not, we don't know if it's going to fall apart 3 or 4 or 5 years after. All right. We want that solid foundation. We want to know this thing is going to be around for a long time. And the Big 12 can offer security, can offer a baseline amount of money, can actually offer growth on that money down the line, the next media rights deal, and different revenue streams, what they're going to do with basketball. Your mark will sell the hell out of somebody. Whether that's Louisville, whether that's Virginia Tech, NC State. I don't know what shoe will drop first. But one of them drops. Let's call it Louisville. Say Louisville says, you know what? FSU's gone. Clemson's gone. Maybe Miami's gone. Screw this. All right, here's 2027. We're talking about an Apple deal just like the Pac did. We're talking about Amazon because ESPN is out. Fox isn't going to dedicate that kind of money. They're not worried about it. They don't get that inventory now. They don't need it now. They ain't going to need it then. NBC and CBS, they're going to put they're going to put Peacock and Paramount Plus together, and they're going to move forward. Maybe they'll offer a deal, a streaming deal. But in 2027, is everyone going to be okay with a mostly or all streaming deal at that point? Probably not. The linear option is dying, but it's not dead. People are going to cling to it until it's dead, until it's gone. That's the truth of it. And right now it still provides enough money and enough exposure. People don't want to abandon it. People don't want to do half and half. They don't even want half and half. So a team like Louisville, who, they put in on their sports programs, they're a good academic university as well. But, they want to win. They want to be relevant. They want to make money on their sports. So they'll go to the Big 12. Let's just say they're first. And they're gone. If you're Virginia Tech, are you going to just sit around? You're probably, if you're NC State, let's say you're NC State, then Louisville's gone. So now there's 4 teams gone. You're looking at some streaming shit. It's the same kind of thing. Now you got the same kind of decision to make that Arizona State, and Utah had to make. You're probably going to call your main partner there in UNC and say, look, let's grab Duke and go while the getting's good. All right? That's the best basketball conference. You two guys are the best basketball brands we got. We want to go with you. And the state of North Carolina would probably like that. So you can see how the dominoes fall. They're all set up. We've seen the story happen again. It's not much of a prediction because we've seen it before. So what teams are we going to get? We're going to get Louisville. We're going to get, let's talk about the easy ones we're going to get. Louisville, Pitt, NC State, Virginia Tech. Those four. That's the easiest four to talk about. What do I also predict? I think Duke's the 5th team. I think UNC is the 6th team. I think Virginia will be the 7th team. That's right. We may get as many as 8 teams out of this sucker with Georgia Tech. We'll see what happens. That's the ceiling for the Big 12 getting teams out of the ACC. And once that dust settles, the Big 12 will then start looking towards their basketball future. You're talking Gonzaga, Big East schools, if not a straight up merger with the Big East, and that is on the table. I know no one's talking about it right now. I don't think there have been any serious discussions between the Big 12 and the Big East right now. But I predict discussions like that will happen. Whether it happens or not, not sure. Not sure if I'm comfortable predicting that, but I do believe at least, if nothing else, Gonzaga and UConn, that's going to happen. And my last prediction, which is probably the least likely of things to happen, but I'm going to do it anyway, just to piss some people off. A&M, Texas A&M, 2032. Go to the Big Ten. They don't like Texas. They left the Big 12 once upon a time to get the hell away from them. I believe they'll do it again. I don't think they like how they were treated by the SEC. I don't think they got the ties that the SEC seems to think they do. They don't. They're pissed off. And they have an option. And the Big Ten would love to get into Texas. And they're not going to take Baylor. They're not going to take Texas Tech. They're not going to take TCU. They would take Texas A&M. No doubt about it. So that's it, friends. That's all I got. Those are my predictions. Come at me if you will. Anyway, thanks for watching this crap, and I'll be back with some other crap later. Bye.